Alright, so we'll develop this family panel through here to include a lot more geometry there at the moment. So if we hover over this thing here, it's hard to select, but once again you can use your tab key, tab through until you've selected just that panel. The window is open in the background, so you could use your switch windows tool up the top here, but also you can select it through here and click edit family, and it opens up that family editor again, once again. So what will we do from here? So if we have a look at this in 3D, what we've got, that's what we might do. I might go back to my exterior elevation view. So if I double click on that exterior elevation, if I were to make a mirror of this object through here, so I'll use the mirror using the draw axis and then make sure copy is checked. I can find the midpoint of this pane here and draw a line vertically up, and then I've got another version of that. So it's brought across these two dimensions, but it might not have locked the dimensions to the panel. It's only brought across its own two individual dimensions through there. So we might have to add the dimension tool once again for here to the top. I'll put it out over there and then lock that so it stays 45. And then the other thing we might need to do is the align tool. So it's once again AL is the shortcut key for align, or you can use under modify this tool. Now I click that reference plane, it's the bit that's in the right place first, and then if I hover and wait till the extrusion edge is selected, I can align that. And then while they're aligned, nothing moved because it was already in the right place, but I'm using the align tool so that I can get this padlock up. And if I click the padlock now, that is aligned to that reference plane. So there's our next little bit in. We can check that that worked out all right. So we can load that back into the project, overwrite the existing version and its parameters. Not that we've got any parameters yet, but and you can see now that we've added in extra supports there. Okay, now while we're looking at that, we might just have a look at what we did with those materials for these before. So if we hover and tab once again so we can select just the panel. So we've selected that panel. You can come across here to edit type, and you can see now this is the parameter that you made before, louver support material, and it hasn't got anything assigned. It's going to let us assign that material now within the project rather than assigning the material in the family, which gives the person creating the family all the control over the materials. It's better to leave the control to the person working on the project to change the material here once it gets loaded into the project. So that's how we did that. We added a parameter back in the family. Then when it's loaded into the project, you can use your type properties to add a material here. So the louver support material, at the moment it's by category. I can click in there and I can set up something like aluminium, whatever material you want to use. And now I think we had a look at the glass curtain wall, the mullions. If I tab to select one of those mullions and go edit type, their material is aluminium, so I've just got something that should be looking the same material as the curtain wall members. Okay, so let's edit that family again. So tab, easiest way of doing it, and then click edit family. It opens up the family editor again for us. And now what I'm going to do, we've got this reference plane here called right. I think what I'll do here now is I'll start working on this left-hand elevation looking at that reference plane called right. So if we double click on the left-hand elevation there, I'm going to create some more extrusions here. I might just grab this. This reference plane's got its open circle being its end moved off the solid circle. Normally you'd expect these reference planes to have just one open circle here. So what you can do is if you grab that open circle there, that's if it's happening with you. Maybe it was just something I've done. And move it back on top of the solid dot where it says original and let go. And then when you grab the open circle and stretch it out, you can stretch the length of the reference plane. Otherwise, I don't think that reference plane was going to stretch anywhere for you. Now, if I put another couple of I'm going to start developing the louvers here now. So I might use reference lines this time. So if I go to create, you can see under datum here, you can see reference lines. If I draw a reference line now, it's asking for the plane that I want to work on. So if I drop it down here, remember we're looking at reference plane right. We're on the left-hand elevation, but in this case it's closer to the reference plane that we called right. So if I click OK for there, and if I just click somewhere nearest on here, I want a reference line, let's have that. Yeah, okay, I'm not too sure what was happening through there. Create, reference line, I just wanted to draw a line. From there, yeah, that's what I was expecting. A line from there straight down. Now let's make this line 150 long. So it goes like that. And then it will set up a dimension for that. But so if I put if we select it there, we can see that it's got an angular dimension there of 56 degrees to the horizontal. Just make that something like 35 degrees to the horizontal. It's moved it on us, so I'll just move it back on again. So if I just move that back on to there, I don't think we need to align that, lock that in place at the moment, so we'll just leave it. We're not going to get that fancy. But what I might do now is I might set up some more of those. Before I do, I'll do another reference line. So I'll create another reference line. This is just giving me some geometry to sort out the louver blades. So if you just click anywhere in space near that reference line, get your perpendicular snap coming up and just draw a line that is with perpendicular happening there. I actually want this to be 18 millimeters long. See if that works for me. Yes, it did. Okay. So I wanted that to be 18 millimeters long but perpendicular to that line. And then I'm going to pick that one up and move it from its midpoint and find a midpoint here. So I just want a little cross like that, 18 millimeters. The reason is there is available a louver blade, a nice curved aeroplane wing shaped louver blade that is 150 millimeters long and 18 millimeters wide. So that's just setting up some geometry for me to let me create a louver blade. So I might create that first louver blade. Well, before I do, I'm just going to put a dimension, another DI for dimension. I'm going to dimension back from the center reference plane to the end of that line. Oh, now I should have fixed that up first actually. So I'll drop that in place now. I'll click on that line and I'll change that dimension to be 900. Okay, so that means I've got to pick this up and move it again. So I'll have to use this move, find its midpoint, and then find that midpoint over there. So wait till you see midpoint happen. Okay, so we'll create an extrusion here now. So we'll go to create. We'll create an extrusion. Just make sure we are working on that right hand reference plane by clicking set work plane, and here you can see we are looking at reference plane right. So that's what I wanted, so I'm just going to click OK. I just wanted to double check on that, and then I'm going to use this arc tool and I'm just going to start drawing endpoint to endpoint, and then the bulge in the middle is that endpoint. And then I can go back to this other endpoint to close, and the bulge in the middle is that endpoint. And then I should be able to click. Well, I'm going to start this extrusion at 0 on the right-hand reference plane. And I'm not too sure how far I need to take it for the moment. I'm just going to leave it set at 1 meter. And then I'll click, and while we're here, material, we'll do the same thing that we did before with the material. Sorry about this, sorry, I'll just, same thing again for material. Just hit the wrong button on my keyboard there. So we'll hit into here, and then we'll add a new parameter just like we did before, and this parameter now is going to be called the louver material, and click OK, and click OK, and then click the tick. So we've now got an extrusion that is now the louver. Right, so I'll have a look at that now in an exterior view, and can't see it in the exterior view here, so let's have a look at it in 3D and see what's happened. Oh, there it, okay, it's gone back the wrong direction. Anyway, we can probably do this here. So in this view here, we can now stretch out these end grips. Now I'm wondering if I can do this. So if I try the align tool and I get that face of the object that we've created before, and then I align that to that face there, and then I hit the padlock, as that changes location, then the end of the louver blade should change location. Hoping that that'll work good for me. So we'll double check that in a second. But I'm going to try the align tool again, AL, find that inside face, and then find this face, and then click the padlock. So that's locked into place.